Hello everyone, my name is Alicia Jackson, licensed professional counselor. Welcome to my channel. As today we are reviewing Married at First Sight, season 14, episode 9. And the couples, this is like week 3, the couples are kind of like they're settled in now and they're really getting to know each other. And the theme of this episode is vulnerability is key. Vulnerability is key. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through the review. But of course, first, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and join in on the conversation. Tell me what you guys think about these couples and how they're joining, and especially what you feel it takes to truly create a safe space for vulnerability, and your thoughts about vulnerability, as it's truly a needed ingredient for a relationship, any relationship, not just a married couple, but any relationship. So let's get into it. We have Noy and Steve. Oh my goodness, this cute scavenger hunt. I was so impressed by Noy with planning this wonderful, cute little thing. At first, when he said, I woke up in the morning and Noy wasn't there, I said, no, she didn't leave him again. But it was really cute to see how she planned out something and included details of their day and their journey together as a married couple, and their marriage and their wedding day and all of that. And it really made Steve feel really special. It seems like they are coming to a place where they are finding a resolution, and that's really important, because I was concerned about that with the kind gesture, because sometimes when there's a big tiff or disagreement or conflict and there is a big gesture, sometimes things are kind of left unresolved. And so it seems like they maybe have come to a place where they are starting to open up a little bit more. I hope there's been a conversation about his finances that have made her feel safe and secure in this relationship. And I hope that they have had a discussion about how they're going to handle conflict and what are some ground rules and what are some ways that they want to respect each other's boundaries. I hope that's happened. But if it hasn't, we will continue to see it unfold definitely as the season progresses. Noy says she did feel it was strange as they were asking or answering the love questions, between each other that the experts have them do. I have some opinions about that. I just feel like the love questions, I don't think that is necessary at this stage. I understand the process, and so they are really trying to make sure that the couples do check in with each other to see what love looks like for them. I think everybody also has a different definition of love, and that being something that's explored instead of have you experienced it, and what is it going to take for you to be in love. I'm curious about what their expectations are of love and what their definition is of love, because I'm seeing in all of the couples that they all have some different definitions of it. But Noy says she thought it was kind of interesting that Steve has fallen in love multiple times, but is kind of reluctant to share with her. I do feel like, Steve does care about her, and of course later on he does confess his love for her. But I feel like any relationship that hasn't been tested, you don't really know. And it has been tested recently over noodles, or at least that's his perspective, unless they've had a deeper conversation about it. We did see, though, on the after party that she did say at night, when they are going to bed, that they just talk for hours and hours and hours, which is great. Because they don't know each other, talking is how you open the lines of communication. So it's really great to hear that those lines are open. When Steve was hanging with the fellas, he did talk about how he really had to connect with his feelings and talk about how that situation impacted him with her leaving and not communicating, and how being vulnerable was the key to them understanding. And I truly feel that vulnerability is so important. If you don't have vulnerability, what the other person hears is that what I'm doing is bad or who I am is bad. And when you add vulnerability into the mix, into the conversation, when you come from a vulnerable place, you let the person know, I care about you and I care about us. And this is why this is so important to me, because I want us to work. And it changes. It changes the tone. It disarms the protectors that do come up when you are trying to fight to be right, or fight to be the best or the good, right? And so definitely, vulnerability is helping Steve and Noy get to a place where they are sharing with each other. And it was great to see them share their moment at the end of the episode on the beach and share the L word and connect. So next we have Michael and Jasmina. I thought it was a really great gesture for them to have this picnic and bring her dog and buy her dog gifts. It really showed Jasmina, that he's caring about her and caring about what's important to her. And so then he was trying to reach to a place to understand what he could do to help communicate better with her and say, hey, okay, I'm noticing that when we have a conflict, especially from a place where it's like I'm trying to communicate my feelings to you, that's where our conflict kind of comes to a boiling point. What can I do to help? And she was very forceful, and she used her, what I would call her now Michael tone, where she started getting really like forceful. And I know she's a teacher, and so it's kind of what it sounds like a very lectury place, and talking at him. And he was like, hey, I'm trying to understand how to communicate to you. And she's like, how don't you know how to communicate? And it would be, in a perfect world, we would all have these lessons on how to communicate before we get into relationships, but rarely is that the case. And so Michael is in a place of trying to understand her, but Jasmina in this space is talking at him instead of to him, and she's doing something that she's actually telling him not to do. So they were able to diffuse it, it seems, as Michael kind of just stopped communicating, but we don't know what happened and how that was resolved. But what we do see in here is Jasmina saying that, her and Michael really aren't talking much in the apartment. It's very high and by and very short and brief, short conversations. So that concerns me, because at this point, 3 weeks in, there would need to be like more information they need to be sharing. At the picnic, I don't think that it was the best venue for Michael to have a conversation like that, of how can I communicate to you when I don't like something about you, or I want you to change something, because I'm thinking that's potentially what Jasmina heard. But really, at the picnic, it would be great for Michael to ask questions, or either both of them to say, like, what are your plans? What are your hopes and dreams? What do you want to do with your life in the next 5 years? What are your goals? Where are some must-see places? What are your passions? We know she likes K-pop. We know he likes fitness. I don't see where they're getting to know each other. What are their favorite foods? When do they have fun? All of that. What do you do for fun? Let's do some fun things together. It seems it's either they are doing small talk or they're arguing with each other. It doesn't seem like there's any more depth there. But we do see in the love questions that the experts provided, that they are talking about what it takes. We see that, Jasmina, she's fell in love a few times. Michael once, and these possibles, like they're playing spades. If you don't know about spades, Google it. And we see also that Michael is really saying that he needs a safe space to be vulnerable. And that comes up for Jasmina because it seems like she really wants him to do that, but then also used her now Michael tone when asking him about what it takes for him to be vulnerable, and how he hasn't been vulnerable with her. And I'm wondering, because I remember Jasmina saying that she has a tendency to be with men who are not emotionally present or not emotionally available. And I'm curious if she's able to soften her protection, her hard exterior, to really be a space to welcome vulnerability. We do see that, though, thank goodness, in the episode, as they did plan this cute day. Jasmina did, in this gym where they were doing funny exercises. I was like, finally, they're having fun with each other, and it's not so serious. And they were able to connect, and he shared his very touching story of being a little boy who was alarmed by the death of his brother, and it was truly a traumatic story. And you could tell as he was sharing it of the place it took him, and Jasmina was able to meet him and move close to him, and it was a wonderful place that they were able to get to. So I'm hoping that we can keep moving in this right direction for even her to be vulnerable and share her feelings about. She has lots of stories to talk about her stepmother and her mother leaving, and her father moving to Jamaica, like all those things. She has some things to share with him as well. And so hopefully, they'll be moving in the right direction. I did think it was funny though, when they were stretching before he shared his grief journey with her. They were stretching, and she said, "Are you flexible?" He said, "No." And she said, "Oh, same." And I said, "Yes, same." In my mind, I'm like, you both are so rooted in protection. His way of protecting is by withholding his feelings. Her way of protection is by blocking and like having this hard exterior. So hoping they can soften back, he can open up, and she can put down her walls, and they can continue to share with each other. Next, we have Mark and Lindsey. Whew. Last week's episode ended in a very rocky place. And so I was not surprised to see that their communication was at this place of where it really was, is that they were, very short with each other and kind of walking on eggshells, not knowing what to say. And Lindsey, interesting enough, she said that she was really wanting Mark to apologize for hurting her feelings. And I said, oh, it caught me off guard because, one, I understand that what Mark said was did hurt her feelings, and at the same time, she said some very hurtful things, private things on camera, and I was expecting her to also be in a place of apologizing, and that seemed to be missing there. So they were eating and giving each other silent treatment. Of course, we know this isn't going to work. And I was like, oh dear, I hope that this moves forward. And then there became this like miscommunication between them two, where Lindsey, for me, it seems that Lindsey's definition of love means that I give you all of me. I go over and beyond for you, and in return, what I would like from you is complete acceptance. Like you accept all of me, and without any critique or any without any critique or any correction. And wouldn't that be nice, right? Wouldn't that be nice to not have any correction or critique? At the same time, that's not love. That's not love. Love holds you accountable. Accountability is a part of love, and that's also a part of respect. And while she definitely has been present for Mark through all that he has been through, she's also not catching or not being aware herself, where it's funny that she said that Mark was not aware, being self-aware of how he's showing up. She's also not being aware of how she is showing up for Mark. As yes, she has definitely been in the trenches with him, but she's also caused some conflict for him internally with her behavior with the cast members. She has said some mean and hurtful things to him, and whenever he brings up something, and not that he has the best timing, he does not oftentimes have the best timing. So I get it why she can be offended at times, but at the same time, her reaction to it is very emotionally abusive, and I don't think that that's her intent. I really don't. I really hope not. It seems like she just doesn't understand her role and what she's playing in his behavior and how he's responding to her. Mark in the conversation said, we just need to learn how to communicate with each other. And I said, oh no, Mark, this is deeper than communication, because she has a different definition of love than he does. And when we get to the love questions, we kind of lean to find out more. So Lindsey's talking about her love experiences, and then Mark shares about his experiences and his past relationships that really kind of had to sit with for a moment. Talked about getting into a new relationship, and then it would make him say, oh, I really didn't like this, but my old relationship, I was actually happier then. And so that makes me think that potentially Mark doesn't really know what he wants in a relationship, and that he doesn't trust himself to make decisions about his relationships. And you kind of see that in his relationship with Lindsey. Like, he's not able to have a firm footing with her because he's really, really working hard to please her, make her happy, and keep the peace, versus make his voice heard and what he wants and what he needs from her. We did see this sushi date, which was really cute. It was awesome to see that Mark was leaning in and eating sushi and raw fish that he did not want to eat. And it made for definitely some cute laughs for TV. I was concerned though, because I'm like, Lindsey again is kind of pushing Mark in some boundary areas, but this is a small area, and at the same time, it's like there was a part of me that wanted Mark to just set a boundary with her, even on something small like this. I'm like, hey, I don't like sushi, but I'm bringing you here because you like it. But he rolled with the flow, as he does. But then he did something that made me. Then he did something that kind of made me concerned. So he started to apologize about his behavior, which rightfully so, but did not really check in with Lindsey to see how she felt about her behavior, and or communicate how her behavior made him feel, saying those things in the bathroom and in front of the producers and yelling that in front of the whole bowling alley, like how that made him feel. I did not see that. He was just really, really focused on reassuring her, and seems like he's taking this caretaker role with her, as they both are actually, and not looking out for his feelings and his experience. And then he started making promises that it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to keep, because he said that she doesn't deserve to be hurt, which nobody does, absolutely. And at the same time, he promised that he would never hurt her. And while his intentions may be there, right, to never hurt her, at the same time, it happens in relationships unintentionally, right? Or you will say something that will hurt your spouse because you don't know them yet. Like, they're still learning each other. So he's going to say something that's going to potentially annoy her or offend her, and just be in a position of taking accountability and apologizing and working to do better. That's the position he needs to take with her. But I think he's also really, really just trying to keep the peace, like trying to have peace, because being in conflict really, really disrupts him. There's a part of him that does not like conflict, and I understand that. And at the same time, he is sacrificing his truth and his voice in the relationship. So I'm hoping that as they move with the experts, that they will continue to work on this in their relationship. Lastly, it was really great to see how Lindsey was able to bend a little to Mark and take him kart racing and the batting cages, as he has baseball for quite a long period of time. She did say something that was so interesting, that she saw some strength. She saw the strength with him in the batting cages, and she wants him to show that with her. And she said it with a smile and a smirk on her face. So I'm imagining that she's meaning this in a sexual way. That's the assumption I'm making. But I'm wondering also if she really means that, because Mark's strength truly is going to be his voice. And whenever he speaks his voice, she does not take that. She does not take that well. But we'll continue to see how this couple moves forward. I don't see this couple moving forward well with Mark's voice missing. And that's like the double Mark that I think she's seeing, where, and she's talking about like this on camera, off camera Mark. Really what she's seeing is like caretaker Mark versus like really what he's feeling. Whenever he speaks his truth, then she has a blow up, and then he goes into caretaker mode, and he has to be able to take that caretaker role off to be able for them to truly connect and communicate with each other honestly. So we shall see. Last but not least, we have Katina and Olajuwon. So we learned that there was a little fight and a conflict that they had as they are talking about it the next day. And I said, oh, there's those rigid expectations again. And it continues to show itself through the whole episode, unfortunately. Olajuwon has these very strong expectations and of perfection of what he feels a wife should be. And I don't know how that was modeled. That was from his mother. If that's from what he didn't get from his mother, I don't know. He did say in the conversation, in the love conversation, and I don't want to jump ahead too much, but in the love conversation, he said that he has heard things from men and women that they are going to move towards changing their behavior, but they don't don't do anything that's good enough for him. In my mind, I'm like, did they make steps and that you didn't notice it? Because I do see Katina trying. Like, I see her trying. And at the same time, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great for your spouse to meet all of your needs and expectations? Wouldn't that be awesome? That's not the case. Especially won't be the case if you're marrying a stranger. And so there has to be some grace. There has to be some grace for him to be able to see her effort, to see her moving. Yes, she doesn't cook like a professional chef, okay, but she's cooking, she's trying. So I'm really concerned about these expectations he has for her that are very rigid. He talked about in the conversation when they were rehashing the argument about how Katina doesn't cry. And what I was hoping from this conversation, or really all of their conversations that they have on camera in this episode, is really like Olajuwon says what he needs from Katina. He like states his demands, his request, and at the same time I'm like, what can you do to help her? Like, I'm wondering if he asks a question like that, like, how can I help you feel safe in this relationship? So he was talking about the fact that she doesn't cry. And then we come to understand and know that she was in an abusive relationship where he poked at the fact that she cried and said she was weak. And so then he tells her in a way, but a very stern way, that she doesn't need to let anybody tell her how to feel, and it's okay to cry. I think that's great. It would be great for him to say, hey, I'm sorry that you went through that, and I'm always going to be a safe space for your tears, or I'm going to work to make sure that you don't feel that way with me, so that you'll feel open to that. It seems like he's coming from this like idealistic, like childlike place where things are black and white. It's either yes or no. And she has a defensive, she has a protector that is saying it's not safe to cry in front of people. That she's been through that experience. So she's going to have to work through that within herself, but he's also going to have to be able to meet her there. And that's a part of marriage. And so that's what I'm really looking for from Olajuwon, meeting her there, coming to a place. Yes, you are showing up for her. Yes, he talked about, I paid off my student loans. I bought a house, and he feels like she's sheltered, and feels like he's babying her. And so I'm curious. I want to know more about that when it comes to like feeling he's babying her. And again, I think it's really from this place of expectations, but I really want to hear from them. And I was hoping that one of them was in the after party, so I could really get a true sense of what was happening. But I didn't like his tone or his energy and how he was communicating with her. It truly came from a place that wasn't vulnerable, And when that happens, it makes the person, the receiving party, feel like they're not good enough, that there is shame there, that she's not trying, and that she needs to do more. She needs to be different. Versus like he would send mixed messages. I really hope that Katina is able to voice how she's feeling. I'm hoping that it was great to see her say I need a moment, even though he didn't give her one. It was great to see that from her. I really see how she's trying to understand him. I see how she's working to be vulnerable, as she was talking about with him, and also saying, with the ladies, that she's getting clarity of what he needs from her. It's only week 3, so I know that cooking and cleaning is a big thing for Olajuwon. So they have to have a conversation about that. But it also seems like potentially this isn't something that he communicated with the experts, as well as Pastor Cal alluded a few episodes ago. So I'm really hoping that he can, as much as he wants people to be patient with him, that he can have some patience with her. That has been a constant through their relationship and these tests, and it seems like she has to meet these qualifications in order for him to say that he loves her, because it's really clear that he does care about her. It does care for her, and it seems like she's in a place where nothing she does is good enough. And so I'm really, really hoping that they can get to a place that seems like that's going to happen next episode, where there is some communication between them two, and that there can be some safe space, because vulnerability is key. And that's what this couple is missing, some vulnerable communication. I'm curious about why Olajuwon is being so forceful with her and demanding these things. It seems like there's some needs that haven't been met, and having a conversation with her about that, as she had a conversation with him about why she doesn't feel comfortable crying in front of him. It's going to help them understand each other. And so I'm really, really hoping that they're able to get to a good place in this. That is all we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, please, and comment below about what you think about these couples. They're all kind of in this very kind of tender place. Noy and Steve are definitely getting there, but they're all kind of in this tender place of trying to build their connection, and vulnerability is key. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, be cool, be calm, be centered.